make sure I train hard so I won't, slip up.
Well, listen, that's true too, but you have to know you got to beat Lomachenko. Come on, man, when you go to fight him.
Yeah, Lomachenko, he have a fight right now.
Who's he fighting?
Teofimo.
Oh, I know that guy, Lopez, right?
Yeah.
You fought him before?
Nah, I sparred him when he was younger. We both was younger. Tax him up a little bit.
What do you think about Shakur Stevenson and Haney?
They both good young fighters.
You ever spar with them before?
Yeah, I sparred with Shakur for my fight for my first title shot. I sparred with Shakur. I sparred with Devin too.
Y'all got spectacular guys in the division to fight. Y'all guys should be able to make a lot of money in 2 years, huh?
Yeah, hopefully. If we all, fight each other.
You all got to make a pact to fight each other. Listen, know what about fighters? Fighters are friends. If you're a fighter friend, you help them make some money, right? Your guys should come up with some conclusion and don't let your managers, you ever say that West make a fight. And then that's when your lawyers come in.
Yeah, but none of my friends. I don't have friends in boxing.
I know, well, you don't have to have friends to negotiate a deal.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, two black men should be able to have a conversation about business and not be fighting with one another.
Yeah, you're right.
This is how we have to handle business now.
Those are the words of Mike Tyson as he speaks and counsels Gervonte Tank Davis in the way that he only knows how to do it. And I like this segment because Mike Tyson comes at you as real as he knows how. It's genuine. There was no animosity. It was just like, hey, when are you going to fight the best? When are you going to test yourself? When are you going to fight Lomachenko? Okay, we all know the story about Lomachenko and Tank. When Loma wanted Tank at 130 and Floyd didn't want to go that route at that time, but that was Floyd's call. But then Floyd turned around and did a total 180 and said, yeah, you can have him. But, unfortunately, Loma decided to go to 135 because there was no reason to sit around at 130 and be stagnant. And he did the right decision, okay? And Mike was telling him, like, hey, you need to fight Lomachenko because that's the guy to fight. That's the guy to beat. Okay. And of course, he asked about, hey, what about Devin Haney? What about Shakur Stevenson? Have you even sparred with him? Because a lot of things, what people don't understand when you spar a person, you've been in there and you're familiar with them. Whatever habits they have, they can always make adjustments. Any fighter can, some of them, most of the ones that want to open their minds up to make adjustments. Anybody can change something. But when you fight someone, when you spar someone, okay, sparring is the next to fighting. A lot of times how people spar, they're going to fight. Okay, you're going to see their habits. You're going to see their characteristics, the things they do, their tendencies. You're going to see them all. That's why Mike asked that. Okay, and he's like, hey, you guys need to make a pact to fight one another and make a whole lot of money. And Mike was like, hey, friends, being friends in this sport, you can make each other a whole lot of money, and then Tank was like, hey, no, I don't have no friends in boxing, so he's doing it the rough rider, the rude boy route. But like Mike explained to him, well, listen, just because you're not friends don't mean you can't do business. And of course, Gervonte Tank Davis agreed with him being who he is, and it makes a lot of sense for this reason. The route Gervonte Tank Davis has went, first of all, the Twitter beef, the social media talk back and forth, it never really went anywhere. In fact, it just shows that, hey, I don't like you, I'm brash, I'm rude, I can insult you, but I can't fight you. And why can't he fight these guys that he needs to be fighting, according to a lot of people, according to me, of course, now Mike Tyson, is because his management won't let him. And like Mike said, well, hey, if your management doesn't get it, it doesn't help you. That's what the lawyers are for. See, he's given him something that I don't know if he really paid attention to what Mike was saying. Mike was saying, listen, if you want to be the best, you have to fight the best. If you can't fight the best due to management, okay, then that's where you get your lawyers in to set fire up under the promotional companies to make these fights happen. Not trying to sway me away from these fights. Not trying to take me away from the advantages and the status that I need. Just because you're trying to push an agenda or use me as a pawn of some sort. Okay? That's what Mike was telling him. And he was telling him in his own genuine way. And it has to be a situation where you do have to sit down and talk to these guys. Just Court Stevenson, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez even. Because these are the guys that you're going to have to fight to show that your name is worth something. Okay? And I think Gervonte Tank Davis is an excellent fighter. But what does he matter if he has no resistance? If no one tests him, what does it matter? Okay, we're sick of seeing showcase fights. I'm sick of seeing them. And I love showcase fights from time to time. Voluntary here. But when it comes to mandatories or challenges, okay, Gervonte Tank Davis needs to do that. Not saying what he said, oh, I hope so. That's up to you, the desire that you have and your management. And of course, if that doesn't work, hey, you need to get your lawyers in because, your promotional company works for you at the end of the day, not the other way around. Okay. So what Mike was telling Gervonte Tank Davis was absolutely correct. And he was telling them in a way like, hey, I've been there. When Mike fought these guys, he fought Lennox Lewis. He fought Evander Holyfield. He fought these guys. Okay. And he might have lost, but guess what? He knows where he's at in a ranking system. It's not like now that what we're seeing a bunch of people talking a bunch of smack back and forth on Twitter, on Instagram, what have you, and then nothing ever gets done. Then you see him fight somebody else. And if you notice, Mike, he said, I'll leave the full link, shout out to Fight Hype, but I'll send the whole link so you guys can listen to this because this is great mentorship. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Mike was talking to him not like he was blasting him or nothing like that. It wasn't that way. It was almost like an OG uncle talking to his nephew. You know what I mean? And you got to give shouts out to Gervonte because Gervonte, he respects Mike for Mike. Now, I can't say that for everyone else, and that's maybe why, okay? That may be why certain fighters don't want to talk to Mike because Mike will tell them that and they might not take it like Gervonte received it. Okay? That's what I believe in other situations. I'm not going to even go there, but, facts. Gervonte Tank Davis did listen and he's receptive, so that's a good thing. And they're supposed to meet on another date, but he does have Gervonte Tank Davis's attention. Why? Because Mike is still doing it and Mike is still in the spotlight. If you noticed, he was like, hey, well, what do you got going? Yeah, he's fighting Roy Jones Jr. November 28th. That's what he's doing. But what about you, young man? When are you going to fight these guys? Let's get it on. So it was a wonderful to hear Mike, especially with someone like Gervonte Tank Davis that has undeniable talent, that we just want to see him fight the best. Damn what Mayweather Promotions tells you or wants you to do. Start taking your own ownership. Because if Gervonte Tank Davis, this is my counterpunch to him, what he needs to realize that the same people that's telling him what to do were in his situation that did something that he should have done. If they won't give him the fights that he needs, Mayweather Jr., money, what did he do? He left Bob Arum. Why? Because Bob wasn't giving him the money to fight the fights that he wanted. So he left. He made his own way. He made his own lane. Okay? That's exactly if Floyd is keeping him from doing what he feels he wants to do, if he really wants to do it, if he really wants to challenge himself, okay, then he should do exactly what Floyd did generations before him. Counterpunch. So the proof is in the pudding. We'll see what Gervonte Tank Davis decides to do. We'll see if he uses some of this counsel from Mike Tyson. You guys tell me what you think about this particular interview. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.